Hi folks, in today's video we're going to be painting a UR025 from start to finish. But first of all I want to say a huge thank you to Goblin Gaming who sent me the Blackstone Fortress box set out for review. If you check the description box down below, you can find a direct link to Goblin Gaming's web store, and every time you purchase something from the web store using that link, it greatly helps my YouTube channel by directly funding me. I don't put adverts on my videos, as you know guys, so it really does help when you do use that link when purchasing from Goblin Gaming. I asked my Facebook users if they wanted me to paint UR025 up in the same colour scheme as Games Workshop or a custom scheme, and they all said that they prefer to see a custom scheme. So that's what you see in front of us, my own take on UR025. I wanted to paint him up in a really rusty looking tone and make him look aged, as he's supposed to be very old indeed. Okay guys, it's going to be a really long video as always, so go grab yourselves a nice hot drink or maybe an ice cold beer and we'll get started with the tutorial. Here you can see that we have UR025 on a really cool base. This base is from Dark Art Miniatures, and I'll put a link in the description box below to Dark Art Miniatures where you can purchase this sci-fi base from. Okay, we're going to start off by priming the miniature using Alclad 2's lacquer primer. You can use polyurethane primer if you find it too difficult to use lacquer primers, as they're harmful if inhaled and also are not too good on cheap airbrushes, as you need a PTFE solvent proof seal to spray them. The airbrush I'm using is an Iwata Eclipse CS airbrush with a 0.35 needle nozzle set, and most paints spray out of it absolutely fantastic. I got this airbrush from airbrushes.com, and as I said a moment ago, I'll put links in the description box below to all of the products that I've used in this video. I'm spraying the primer at about 20 psi and I'm working at about 3 to 4 inches away from the model, and I'm just slowly building up that black lacquer primer layer. Now we're going to create some pre-highlighting using Vallejo Game Air Dead White. I'm going to be painting some of the panels red, and this pre-highlighting is going to create a contrast between dark and light red. As you can see, I'm getting really close, so I'm about an inch away, and I've taken the needle cap off my airbrush, as it's easier to get closer to the object source without the needle cap on. If you do take your needle cap off your airbrush, be very careful, as you can easily damage the delicate needle tip. Now we're going to be using Vallejo Game Air Bloody Red, and we're going to make those panels that we've just pre-highlighted pop with the red. Don't worry about overspray, as the other panels are going to be painted by hand in metallics, so it's not too important. What is important is that you don't lay the red down too thickly, as it will cover up that pre-highlighting work that we've already done. Now we're going to paint all the metallics by hand. I'm using Vallejo Metal Colour Gunmetal Grey. This is an airbrush paint and it's very thin, but it still paints by brush absolutely beautifully. Here I'm using a size 0 Artist Opus Series S brush, and as you can see I'm taking my time to go around the miniature and make sure I don't get any of the metallics on the red panels that I've just painted previously. Normally we use a wash like dark tone or non-oil to wash metallics, but I want to use strong tone as this will give it a more ancient and oily look. I'm a huge fan of the Army Painters washes and I think they work really great and they're not in those silly Games Workshop pots. Now we're going to create some dry brushing using Games Workshop's small dry brush. We're going to be using Vallejo Game Air Silver. It's important to note that you remove almost all of the paint off the bristles of the brush on some kitchen roll or paper towels as it's known, and as you can see, I'm just ever so lightly brushing backwards and forwards over the metallic areas of the miniature just to catch the raised areas to make the panels pop. As I mentioned at the start of the video, UR025 is a really ancient machine, so I wanted to create some age and weathering to it, so I'm using MIG Ammo's light rust streaks here, and as you can see, I'm just placing it in all the nooks and crannies of the miniature and all the recesses basically. Now I'm coming in with Vallejo Game Air Silver, and all of the lights are going to be base coated with this because we're going to use some special technical paints a little later on in the video, and it's important that we have a really nice shiny bright silver surface to use the technical paints over. I'm also going to be hard edge highlighting all of the metallics with the silver. As I mentioned a moment ago, we're going to use Soulstone Blue Technical Paint by Games Workshop. This is like an ink in the sense that it will reflect really well over a metallic surface, and it will make the lenses look as real as possible. base was painted in metallics and then it was washed with the Army Painter's blue tone I also add some chipping to the base using Rhinox hide as well. Now we're going to add some very subtle chipping to the red armour panels on UR025. I'm going to be using base paint by Games Workshop Rhinox hide, and you'll notice that I've removed most of the paint off the sponge and I'm only touching the extreme edges of the panels where I think chips would naturally occur. It's very easy to go over the top with chips, guys, and create really big ones which just wouldn't look right to scale. So take your time, make sure most of the paint's removed off the sponge before you touch the miniature, and you should get some really nice organic looking chips. On the Dark Art Miniatures base, there's some really nice chevron patterns, and I paint this using Games Workshop's Avalon Sunset, and I use Vallejo Game Air Black. And here we have our finished UR025. I think that the Blackstone Fortress box set is absolutely awesome, guys. It has some amazing miniatures in it, and I highly recommend you pick it up for the miniatures, and if you're into gaming, it sounds absolutely fantastic and I can't wait to play it myself. Okay guys, so I want to say a huge thank you once again to Goblin Gaming, who sent me the Blackstone Fortress box set out for review. As I mentioned before, if you are purchasing anything from Goblin Gaming, please use the link in the description box below. It really helps my YouTube channel and it lets Goblin Gaming know that they're sponsoring me for a good reason. Okay, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.